Another sad day in America. Another sad, sorry-looking chart in America. The demise of the great Roman Empire, Part 2. In other words, the Roman Empire, Part 2. The real Roman Empire was Part 1. Now we're the new Roman Empire, Part 2. In this chart behind me, now this is households, okay, not per person. Per person, we're over 50 million people on food stamps. Households, on the other hand, as you can see, is around the 23 million households on food stamps. Very, very interesting chart. Those are the blue lines going up. Off to the right, or technically my left, over here, you can see that it starts at the top, $300, down at the bottom is $270. The yellow zigzag chart behind my head, from over here to over here, is the demise of the amount of money you get per person or per family, per household, etc. And as you can see, it started off, this particular one starts in 2009, April, where individuals getting food stamps would get $295 on average. Households. And now, as you can see from that chart, we are down to $275. So it's $20 basically. But as more and more and more and more people flood onto the food stamp program, that number will continue to go down and down and down and down. So once again, I hear all this crap about the unemployment, 7.3. We haven't seen numbers like that, 7.3% since right before the crisis started in 2008. Oh my gosh, this recovery. It's almost as laughable as watching a complete meth head, dope head, crack addict, you name it, telling you he's a recovering crack addict. He hadn't touched anything, haven't touched any drugs, long time. And upon inspection, you take a little closer look, and he's got needles in both arms and his legs and a crack pipe in his mouth. And is still able to talk relatively good with this crack pipe dangling in his mouth, telling you he's recovering. But with your own eyes and ears and knowledge and brains and critical thinking skills that I hope people have, you say, wait a minute, that's funny. He said he's recovering, yet he's stuck full of needles and has a crack pipe in his mouth. Right, you would laugh him off the stage. Get out of here, you're full of crap. But somehow when our government says it, and I show you this chart that shows, look at what it was back in, October 08, at the far bottom left, the lowest it was. just under 14 million. 13 point something million households. It was just a few years ago. It's now almost doubled from where it's at. Now, if you look at food stamps per person usage, when it was down to like 24 million on that same time period, and now it's 50 million people, it has in fact doubled. But irrelevant, whether you want to talk about the households on food stamp or individuals on food stamp, the bottom line is the chart looks the same. 7.3 unemployment rate, while this thing has doubled in it was actually already doubling in 4 years, so it's been 5 years now. It's still over that double point. In theory, the unemployment rate should have probably almost doubled itself. You would think. The unemployment rate. So if it was 7.3 or 4% back in 08, it should probably be around 12, 13, 14% today. And to be honest with you, that's probably where it is. But since they've changed the data that they look at, today we're going to look at this data, or this year, I should say. We're going to look at this data to tell us what inflation is. And next year, we won't look at that data anymore. It's irrelevant. We'll look at new data. And I'm not talking about the same kind of data. Whole different topic, right? Whole different type of data altogether. And yet they never seem to want to include information like this behind you: the cost of food, the cost of energy, electricity, etc., the cost of gasoline, namely. Just the cost of food and gas, or just, put energy in there. Food and energy is the only two things someone would need to see to figure out what the real inflation rate is. And when you look at those things, you can tell that inflation's way higher than they tell us. Just like the unemployment rate is way higher than they tell us. I can't wait for the day to come where I'm doing a video and this chart is flip-flop backwards. And I said, look, it used to be 50 million. Now it's down to 20 million and climbing downwards, declining. That's the day I can't wait for. Take care.